Hello.
Hi, Arlemi.
Hey everyone. Hey Joyce. There is more
Hi.
people coming. Hey John. Hey Hannah. Hey Neil. Yeah, we had a little technical error because we couldn't connect to some of our destinations, like streaming destinations. But it looks like now we have some people joining from different places, which is great. Hey everyone. Welcome to Postman livestream. If you haven't joined us before, we do that every Thursday, and usually we just walk through like a use case, try to build something new. This one is going to be specific to our latest release. So as of like 2 weeks ago, we started rolling out Postman v9. So today I'm just going to walk through some of the new things and have kind of Joyce as a guinea pig. But before we get started, let's quickly introduce ourselves. I'm Arlemi. I'm a developer advocate at Postman. If I sound like I have a nosy voice, is because I was a bit ill. I'm like recovering, so pardon me. But ideally, my voice won't crack too much, and I'll be able to speak through the whole thing. And I'm here with Joyce. Who are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Joyce. Also in developer relations at Postman. I'm based in San Francisco, and I'm wearing a scarf today. Arlemi, I thought we were going to be scarf twins.
No, my scarf would like just hide my whole face. We would lose all the value of like having the
Feel
webcam
like
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have this bright light on, and that's just gonna make me feel warm.
Yeah.
I see we have like plenty of people saying hi. Cecil, Pedro, Marina, LinkedIn user, Mariam, etc. Some first timers as well. It's great to see you all. So yeah, I think we can probably just jump straight into it. Usually we start the stream with in case you missed it, and we have 5 minutes about like what's new. We'll do it a bit the other way around today because the whole stream is about what's new. So yeah, what's new in Postman? If you haven't heard, or if you haven't read our blog, which is blog.postman.com, the main thing that we've announced is kind of the new position of Postman as the API platform. So the place you go to do anything from the moment you start thinking about creating an API to the moment it's out there ready for people to use. So I would say, what should we start talking about?
I just dropped a link to the big announcement, but there's a bunch of blog posts. There's one about like just overall product announcements. There's I don't even know, like half a dozen blog posts talking about what came in V9.
So I would say let's start sharing your screen, Joyce.
What?
Yeah. So for those of you watching, hey Andrew, hey Sayara, hey everyone. For those of you watching, you might not have the exact same UI. The reason might be is that we're using Postman on the web. Make sure that you go full screen.
Okay, should I take the chat off the...
Yeah, we'll hide you. We always read your comments, and if we see any questions, we can answer and like prompt you on the screen. But yeah, so if you're not seeing the exact same thing of the things that we're going to show, it's because we're using Postman for the web, which is always the latest version. So if you're using the app, you might not see the flows, for example, that we're going to talk about later. But if you see something that you don't have yet, either go on the web, try it out, or just wait a couple of weeks and it's going to make it to the app eventually. That being said...
Oh, and you have to update your version too.
Yeah, so if you're using the app, you'll be prompted to update your app, and then you can update. So let's go ahead and maybe start with talking about the private API network. So you might be aware we have a public API network, which is where you can find thousands, tens of thousands of different API that you can just pull in, so fork in your workspace
There's
and start,
dozens of them.
and start playing with. But if you're in a company or if you're working in a team, you might have APIs that you, like your own APIs that you want to share with your own team. And for that, there's a private API network. So if you go to the API network tab at the top.
Oh, I was going to go to it from
So
here.
yeah, there's this one, but now there's this top one, which has private API network, public
partner.
API network, and partner API network coming soon. But we can talk a bit more about that right after. Let's go to the private API network.
Private? Okay, this is private, so this is only private to, well, Arlemi, you're on
your
this
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would, but ideally today I don't do anything. I just talk. So, but yeah, I could go in there and have a look. Hi, Postman, you're my favorite superhero. Not in the DC universe, not yet. But to be fair, if we had to choose a universe, would we go for DC or Marvel?
Oh no.
Probably, yeah.
This is a nerd question.
a debate for another day. Okay, anyway, let's go back to the private API network. So yeah, private API network, private to your team. Whenever you have an API that is ready for your team to consume, or maybe it's not yet ready, but other people need to collaborate on it, you can publish it to the private API network. They can come in, kind of see what's in there. So we've actually added a few things. It's not new. The private API network has been here for some time, but we've added a few things to it. The ability to create folders. So if you look at the bottom left,
create a
now
folder.
You have create folders. So instead of having all your APIs in the same place, like on the left, and then having to scroll all the way down, if you have like a bunch of APIs that belong to the same service, or if you have like a bunch of API that belong to the same or that are handled by the same team, you can then like organize this way.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
There you go. So you can then drag and drop and organize.
Yeah. So on this overview, I mean, this team, I saw it here earlier, but we only have 7 APIs, but some companies have like bajillions, and I think is this going to be like the catalog, the place where people go to see all the APIs?
Yeah, all the internal APIs, ideally.
Yeah.
We actually, so in one of the blogs that we published, we had like that view of an iceberg. And it's always, if you look at an iceberg, there's like the part that is above the water, and it's kind of like the public APIs of your company.
This one?
It might be this one. Yeah, probably this one. And if you scroll down.
Iceberg.
Look for an iceberg. Probably not this one. I'll keep describing. There's the part that is above. Yeah, this one. And that's all your public APIs at the top. But any company that has public APIs that provide services probably has internal things to get it working. And that's the private API. That's the hidden part of it. And there's often many more than there is public ones. And that's where the private API network comes in.
Yeah, and the partner one is coming soon. I'll be excited to see that one.
Yeah. So let's go back to the private API network quickly.
Okay.
There's a few more things. So you saw folder. Now if you click on your folder, you can write a description about it. So you can add like some metadata about like what this is for, who this is for, how to get started with it, etc. The other thing we've added, before it was really just a list of things and you would scroll down and find the right thing. You can now filter. So if you look on the right, you have search APIs, but you also have like a sort and a added by thing. So if you know who has been working on a specific API, you can click on that and just put their name. And yeah, obviously the sort by.
Here, let me put another one in there. So services could be like, let's just say that we have a couple. These are mine. These are
they're probably all created by you, right?
Probably not Kubernetes. Okay, so now we have 3 APIs, and now we can sort. Well, I'm the only one that creates.
It's only
I see what you're saying.
But yeah, if you had other people working in your team and not just you, then you would be able to check the ones that are added by other people.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes it a lot easier, I think, to browse because again, we only had 7 APIs, but I think somebody mentioned like 20 microservices, about 100 endpoints.
Yeah.
It can get really unwieldy. So being able to find and also browse, like this is clearly not a very descriptive description, but even like here's some of the metadata that's bubbled up through the new interface. So it makes it easier for me to be like, what is inventory API, and also browse, which this looks new. Like, hopefully we'll talk about this, but I can see what version is there. If there's something deprecated, I can then like take a peek at it and stuff.
Yeah, so we're actually going there right now. That's the other thing that now we're going to talk about. You actually clicked on one of the blog posts which was talking about the new API platform, and that's what we're going to look at now, which is about what's new in handling API. So if you go back to Postman, and you can actually click on one of these APIs, like one of these versions, if you want.
Like to view it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you have like the definitions. If there was any like documentation attached, you could see it straight from there. But now let's go to one of your workspace where you know there is API, maybe.
Oh no.
Or just a random one. We can create a new one.
Let me open the API in the
Okay.
workspace. How about? Because I don't remember where it was located.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's 4 example APIs in a team workspace.
So before, an API in this API tabs on the left was just one entry, and then you had all of it in the same place. So now if you can click on them and you'll see that there's a drop down, and you can have different versions of a single API attached to one, which also means you can have different elements attached to a single API. So for example, here you can see this 1.0.0 has a documentation attached. And if you go to the documentation tab, you can now see the full-on documentation straight from there as well, which before used to be just a link to a documentation and you had to like change places, etc. So it's all about, again, everything that we're going to talk about here is about centralizing as much as possible things around the API. So the API definition, or like the API as a concept.
Yeah. So this, you just said this, but this little drop down enables me to switch between versions. Previously, I think the versions was up here somewhere, and then also the documentation. I can't remember if it was a separate tab, but this looks slightly different, like these tabs across here.
So we had, I don't actually remember exactly the names of the tabs that we had before, but now we have, we've kind of split them better probably. So documentation is a whole page on its own because you can then see it directly and scroll through. We have test, so you can have a look at test. And now you can see, same again, you have test collections that are attached. You can see directly the last run, how it happened. You could run it again directly from here. But what's new, and you can actually see it from
down here,
this new tag that's there. Yeah. It's connecting to CI and CD builds. Do you know what CI/CD is?
What it stands for? Continuous, or what? Is
Yeah.
that continuous integration, continuous deployment, I think, or delivery. I get those two mixed up.
Yeah, I actually don't know which one exactly it stands for. But yeah, the idea being Circus CI, Travis CI, and others like offer you they basically your pipeline from the moment you start deploying something, it runs some tests, etc. But now you can put your Postman test, or like making sure that your API is working correctly in that pipeline, and directly from here again. So it's all about keeping it centered here, and you can connect your services. And obviously, if the tests fail, then the pipeline fails, and you don't release.
I think we have a question about just in terms of training.
Yep.
So I'll drop a link about some training opportunities in the chat. But today's stream is just going to be about what's new. In fact, let me go to Space Camp. I'll drop this link to check out.
Yeah, so that's a good resource for just general learning about Postman. So that's part of the integrations that we've added. So that's the testing bit. Now we can go to the deployment bit. And
so this is kind of interesting. I mean, you kind of talk through it, but I can see the status of the last run and also kick off the run, right?
Yep.
Okay. Where to next?
Deployment. So we're basically going through the steps, right? Like you write your definition, then you look at your documentation, test it, deploy it, and we don't. Postman doesn't deploy, but again, we integrate with all the services. So one of the known ones being the AWS API Gateway. So if we were to to create the integration here, we would have. We're not going to go through that because that takes too long for this an hour long stream. But you could just deploy your API from here.
Nice. Okay, so it sounds like here. Let me back out of this. But it sounds like on test we have Circle CI and Travis CI. Do you know if they're going to be adding others?
Yes.
And same for like deployments, starting off with.
That's probably worth mentioning. V9 is kind of like the start of our new API platform positioning. Ideally, I know like our integrations team wants to integrate with all the tools that are out there. We want to support all the protocols. So yeah, it's coming at some point. Now we can move on to monitoring. Go Integration Squad. Yeah, like the Integration Squad has a lot of work on their plate, but I already know they're working on some more integrations right now, so it's good. So here again, I'm not going to go through like monitors because that's not a new concept in Postman. That's something you can run to check like if your API is running, etc. But we have now built-in integrations again with APM, which stands for
Application Performance Monitoring.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. And again, yeah, it's the same way you could connect the other ones. You can integrate with New Relic. More to come, very likely. And then what this means is that you would have your Postman data sent directly to New Relic, but also I think this one specifically means you have New Relic running and that analyzes your that monitors your API and you get the data from New Relic directly in Postman. So I think it opens a new page in Postman and you can see the data basically.
Okay, we've received confirmation that APM. At least one other person thinks that that's what APM stands for. So that's pretty cool. So New Relic, if we are a New Relic user. So if we enter our credentials, then we can view the output, the analytics directly from inside Postman, so that it at least brings more stuff in. So there's less context switching. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. And then what have we not checked in all these tabs?
These two, overview and definition.
Yeah. So I think the overview is probably the default one that opens, so we must have checked it. Which is just, as it says, it's the overview, and it was there before. We've kind of changed the UI. You have a better view of like the attached elements, so the documentation, the different environments that may be attached to it, etc. And then we have the definition, but instead of like looking at this one, let's go ahead and maybe create a new one.
Hey, okay.
So switch to a workspace where you can create stuff without bothering anyone.
Well, I could do it in here, or should I create a brand new one? Brand new?
Don't we have the DevRel Republic on this team?
Not on this team, but
Let's not doing this one, because this one I know is like a reference workspace for something.
Sure. I'll create a new one. And do you want it to be a public or a team workspace?
Speculate team.
So I'm going to create a new team workspace, and let's call this like Postman V9. Okay, and we'll leave it as visibility team. And Arlemi, if you want to help out potentially, let me. Oh, you're probably not called.
Should be something like that.
Add you. I don't know. Woo. Okay, I think I just had to type slower. No. Why?
Try yeah, should be in there, surprisingly enough.
Oh no, you're not here, Arlemi. Okay. I'll do it on my own. I'll do it on my own. Okay. Oh, John's work alias wants to be added. So yes, John's work alias. Don't believe that for a second, but this is also a team workspace. So John would need to be part of my team in order to view and access this workspace. All right. I have a blank workspace here.
Yep, and you have a create an API thing right there. Let's go ahead and create an API.
Okay, so I'm under the APIs tab. We will create an API.
Call it. So we're going to, for that demo, we're going to use the default schema. So you can call it. I think it's pet store. Give it a version.
Is it
And then
OpenAPI v3?
Yep. And YAML.
Okay, schema format. We'll leave it as YAML.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go to the definition tab, where we were. And then on this page, there's a couple of things that are new. Going to talk about them, not all of them right now, but the first one is where we used to have versions, we now have a status thing. So you can see in planning. And if you click on it, now you have different stages of your API, basically when you design it, develop it, test it, production, or you might have just like released a new version. For example, like I know Twitter released Twitter V2 API, and the V1 is slowly being deprecated, so they could use that to kind of track like which one we need to use, etc. So that's there's different reasons behind it. Obviously, as you're collaborating with other people, this helps know like what's happening, but only the ones that are in production will be available in the API network as well. So because the API network is here to like collaborate between teams within a company, this allows you to like give an indication of, oh, that API is ready for you to use. So that's another thing you can use it for.
So my cursor is gigantic, but what
It is.
underneath the tooltip is actually status of the API version. What did you call this? These things?
Statuses.
Statuses? Okay.
Yeah. Statuses.
No. Oh, there's more.
There's more.
But wait, there's more. Show less. Oh, interesting. So sunsetting versus deprecating. That's kind of a...
Retired.
I feel like people care about that kind of stuff.
So that's we're not gonna use that because we're not gonna create a whole project today. Another thing that is new is the Connect repository. And for this, do we wanna go through the setup of that, or do we just want to talk about it like we did for the other ones?
It's up to you. I logged into GitHub, so...
So we better use it now.
Yeah.
We may as well show it then. Let's quickly talk about it. It's another one of these integrations. So I don't know how many have we talked about. We have the two testing ones,
CI/CD ones.
We have monitoring,
The deployment.
Deployment.
Gateway.
Then we have GitHub Cloud, Bitbucket. So that's 7 new integrations, with more to come. So let's have a look at this one.
Well, this one's not new, is it?
So it is new. We had GitHub. We had different ones before. So, and we still have. We have a GitHub integration at the moment, which allows you to back up your collections, or backup just as a backup. You can't really like
a
go
one-way
back and forth.
push.
Yep.
Okay.
We used to have a two-way sync, and you couldn't really like check what was being pushed where and when.
Mm-hmm.
It was
just automatic push and pull.
Whenever I make a change, it's being pushed to GitHub. Whenever there's a change on GitHub, it's being pulled. And this one is a full-on like version controlled enabled, or like Git enabled integration.
Ooh, so it's okay. Yeah, I think I remember the text here said GitHub maybe, and now it says GitHub Cloud.
Yeah. So let's go to your GitHub and create a new repository for us to work in.
I was like, is it github.com? What is? How do I?
Oh no.
What?
Yeah, this one. Okay. You actually have a new button here on the left, which is pretty handy.
I never come to this page. I always use autocomplete to like go to previous pages.
Okay, so let's call that Postman V9, maybe.
Well, this is going to be very tricky for people who come here to see. I'll say demo.
Yeah. Do you think some people are going to come here and be like, where do I find Postman
Like, how
V9?
do I download V9? Okay.
Okay, so we probably want to add. You can tick add a README, add a git ignore, because why not? And git ignore template. Is there a Node.js one? Yeah.
Node?
Use that. Okay. Cool.
Do we want a
Create.
license? Okay.
So we have a question from John, which is this enterprise only? That's actually a good question. I keep talking about all of these things, not saying like what's available for who. Everything that I've talked about is available for everyone, actually, until now, I think. About maybe the private API network, which might be from Team Plan. I'm not entirely sure, so I don't want to say anything wrong.
Yeah.
But all of the integrations are for free users all the way to enterprise. The difference is going to be the number of integrations that you're able to create. So for the free users, you can create up to 5 integrations. So you can have if you have a single API, you can be synced with GitHub. You can have one CI/CD, your APM, your gateway, and then you still have like one free integration that you can still use. We'll be adding some integrations that are going to be enterprise only, and mostly at the moment we actually have one that is enterprise only, which is GitHub Enterprise. And usually people that use GitHub Enterprise anyway are like big enterprises, so we kind of match that. Okay, so you have this. That's good. We don't have to do any setup now. We just need a repo. Let's go back to Postman and connect the repository.
Okay. I'm leaving Postman. Let's continue.
Yes.
No, I don't want. Okay, sorry. This is confusing because I'm also have Postman Labs GitHub.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is authorizing Postman to connect to my GitHub.
Yeah.
Okay, authorize?
Yep.
Is this the right check?
It is. It's fine.
Oh yeah, I'm allowing them.
We can then like decide where we want to connect.
Okay, so I will authorize.
Mm-hmm.
Close this tab and continue in Postman.
Okay, so now you have this new like page where you can choose which organization you can. So yeah, I guess like go through the page, select what you want to connect with.
Okay.
Deependra is saying, is it me or the stream is blurry? I think it might be on your side. If it's blurry, so I have LinkedIn open on the side because I'm checking what's happening, and it's fine on my screen. So I would recommend either refreshing the page or go to twitch.tv/getpostman, because there you'll be able to like change the definition of the stream. I don't think LinkedIn allows that.
Yeah. Or I think YouTube allows you to do that as well.
Yeah, so youtube.com/postman, and we are there as well.
What was the name of our thing? Postman?
Postman v9.
Look at all these all the junk that comes out of my... Okay.
Okay, so define your branches. You actually only have one, but if you were in a real project, you'd probably have like different branches, one for your production and then like one for development. So for the sake of this demo, we're just going to use main for both of them.
Okay.
And hopefully it's not going to break the thing. So you need to select the development branch, yeah. The second one. No,
What?
that's fine.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
So the main branch is going to be main, and development branch will also be main.
Yeah. So that's probably gonna break the integration. But that's fine.
Should I create a new branch here on
Yeah,
GitHub?
yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. But you can't until it's initialized. So
should I init it in my local? Should I pull this?
okay.
So I'm just going to copy this in my terminal?
Mm-hmm. So where you want it to live?
Okay. Oops.
In the meantime, I'll let you. No, that's fine. I'll let you do that. I'm going to answer a question from Dustin. Any chance you guys have WSDL, Waddle import in the backlog somewhere? We'd love to be able to have the same ease of importing Swaggers for the stubber files. Well, I would recommend to update your app, because I'm pretty sure we do support that now as of like a month ago. Yeah, and we have like full-on support for
I did it wrong.
WSL and WADL. So yeah, check this out, because I think
On
you'd
the
be happy
import?
with that. Yeah, import, generating collections, all of it. Like we support the whole flow now.
Got it. I copied the wrong one. Do I need to like init locally in a repo?
Yeah.
Or can I just do
probably.
this? Oh, gosh.
You probably need to do like create a new repo, git init.
Okay, sorry. What? Am I doing it wrong?
No, so Dustin just said, you guys move so fast, I missed that. We do move fast. We do release a lot of things, which is why we have like this streams from time to time, just to remember everyone about like everything that exists. But in case you're like wondering how to be aware of like what's being released, the best way to check that is either our blog, so blog.postman.com, because you'll get like full-length article explaining like the reasoning behind a new release, how to use it, etc. The other way to check that is the release notes. So if you go on the Postman website, on the downloads page, there's all the release notes. Or if you want to be aware of what's going to be released, there's a public roadmap that we have as well, which is here. I'm going to share it in the chat. Are you set up?
No.
What's happening? What do you mean it's stuck?
You might have just answered this, but yes, the recording is going to be on YouTube. John's work alias is saying collection backups. Yeah, the Git integration is actually one of the most, I mean, all the different types of Git that Arlemi was talking about is actually our most popular, like by far, like whoppingly by far most popular. So John's work alias, you might have already been using the Git integration to push your changes to backup. Arlemi also talked about the two-way sync to push and pull. And yeah, okay.
Okay, what's happening on your end?
I don't have, like, okay, what do you want me to do?
What if you do? So you have nothing here. Okay, can you refresh the page?
Follow all the steps.
That's fine. Can you refresh refresh this?
I didn't.
Okay, cool. So now we have a repository. So you can go. You see what there's main at the top left?
Add a branch.
Yep. Yeah. So add a branch called dev, for example. Just type in dev here. Yep, and create it.
Okay, so now we have two branches.
So we did what we wanted. So we can now go back to the integration.
Okay, and development should be dev.
Yeah. Well, you might need to refresh, or like connect again.
Okay, let me undo that.
Yep.
Connect repository GitHub Cloud. Oh, somebody asked for us to go slower, right? So amazing.
No, it was a
planned it perfectly.
That was a reply as a jet to the general like way Postman moves, not to the stream.
Oh, okay. It's true. It's an actively developed app, and so
I think you can type Postman here if you want to look for the
I forgot. Okay, V9 demo.
Yep.
So
main is main.
Dev is dev. Development is dev.
Cool. Leave that to. We don't have any schema in there yet, right? So let's let it create it for you.
Okay.
Same for the collection directory. So that means, can you hide John's work alias message?
Yep.
So yeah, the schema directory this is where every time like your schema is going to be pushed. Collection directory, whenever you generate a collection from a schema, it's going to be stored there as well. So you can then use like Git or Bitbucket as your source of truth. You can have your schema, your collections, your code living there. But yeah.
So this is in GitHub, right? It'll create a directory called Postman, and then a subdirectory called schema, as well as Postman collection, and then push the API file as well as the collection.json file.
Yep.
Okay. Connect.
Mm-hmm. BitConnect.
Okay, this is behind our faces, but I see a toast down here. Oh, I just missed it. It's too fast. It was a good toast. BitConnect?
Yeah, I just can't help myself. Cool. So now you can see, where there was written like connect to repository?
Yes.
You can see that there's dev, and there's like the typical things you would expect from a git-based workflow, right? Like pull, commit, and push, switch branches, or just like completely the integration. And if you go to GitHub now and refresh, now you can see there's a new folder. And it was 41 seconds ago. Schemas and YAML is here.
Ooh. But wasn't there supposed to be a collections folder directory as well?
Well, if you generate a collection, yes. But there's no collection at the moment, so there's no need for a collection to a folder to be there.
Okay.
So that's the
Oops.
that's the Git integration. I don't like I see the minutes passing by. I don't want to spend too much time
okay.
on it.
I do think that's really cool because a lot of people like the two-way sync because it happened back and forth, but they wanted more control over being able to control when and which changes get pushed or pulled.
Yeah, I think so.
That's nice.
There's that side of it. The other side is a lot of people are using a Git-based thing for their in their company anyway to handle all that is code or like storing like as a source of truth. So now you can just plug Postman on top of that. You're not trying to replace what you already have. Both of them work together, and that comes back to our reason of like integrating with everything, and like keeping it like integrating with your workflow rather than like trying to push something on you and like remove you from what you're already doing.
Yeah, I like it. All right.
Cool.
I was taking too long. Please go faster.
That's fine. So we mentioned a few things, right? Like we mentioned you need to be able to go from the moment you start defining your API to like when it's running. So one thing that is known, let me put it that way. One thing that has been known, more or less known in Postman is how you can generate client code for your API. So you have a request in Postman, you can, actually you can, you can't because you don't have any collections here.
Here, I'll just create a scrap collection.
Okay.
Called scrap.
And then
add a request called, do you know the echo?
postman-eco.com/get. Yeah.
Okay,
so
it's working.
And now from the right here, if you can open this, you can actually generate code in like many languages, and you can just use that in your app and start coding that API. So that's fun and all. Saves you time when there's like an existing API. But with V9, now you can do the other side of that. So if we go back to the API, instead of generating the code to call an API, we can generate the code of the API basically. So the same way, if you go to the right-hand side and go to that like code button, basically generating a full app for your API based on just the API definition. So let's go ahead. So you actually went through it. You have 4 languages or frameworks available for now. Go, Node.js, Java, and Python. There's 2 options. So generate the whole thing, so like the whole skeleton of the app, or only generate the roots and interface. So that's valuable when you already have an application and you just want to update it. But currently we don't have anything, so let's untick that box and just generate the code and see what happens. Hopefully it works.
Okay, so something downloaded here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so like, a lot of people don't even know about the client side code gen. And this is server side code gen.
That's more work for us to let people know about it.
Well, that's pretty damn cool. Okay, so should I unzip this?
Yeah. You can move it to your, like, wherever you store code on your PC. Like, put it there.
Say it again?
I don't know. Like, where do you... Or you can just run it there. That either or.
In the downloads folder?
Okay. You're in the zip thing here, so you won't be able to, like... You need to unzip it first.
Okay.
Right-click. Then extract. Oh, you have 7-zip, so you can just do 7-zip, extract to the folder. Yeah. Cool. So now you can go in that folder.
Okay. Should I move this over to where I get initted, or does it not matter?
No, we're not gonna.
Okay.
We're not gonna do all this. Can you do
Ooh.
right click? Oh, yeah.
Is this too small?
Probably, but
I don't know that I can zoom.
yeah. Do right click in this folder. Anywhere. Yeah, and open in code if you have that. No, you don't.
Open in Windows Terminal.
No. Then open VS
I can
Code.
move the download to the file, the area I'm in. How about?
No, that's fine. Open VS Code and then open that folder from VS Code, because we're going to explore it from VS Code, because I know you can zoom in there. So if you go File and Open Folder.
Downloads. Okay, so I'm in VS Code.
You trust the authors.
And here's our scaffolding. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's nice. Maybe that's a bit
more.
Maybe a bit much. No, that's
too much.
Too much.
No one else thinks it's okay.
Yeah, we will share the recording later. It's going to be available on YouTube for whoever is asking. Yeah, so that's what was generated. If you're familiar with Node.js, you'll be familiar with this. You have a server.js, which is how you initialize your app.
Okay, it's too zoomed in. Sorry.
You have a routes.js, which kind of tells you the different routes of your API. And then you have a routes folder where like all the routing is done. So let's see if it works. Let's do.
Wait, I'm not done reading yet. Hold on.
Sorry.
So this is like a full little app here.
It is a fully app.
Okay, so here's
There's
all the.
one thing missing that we'll see after.
Okay, we selected Express, right?
Yep.
You can kind of see it there. I'm zoomed in too much. Okay, sorry. Now what? I'm ready.
So terminal at the top.
To add a terminal?
Yeah. So we'll do as you would do when you like start, or when you have an app that is ready to go. So npm install first, or npm i.
Or sorry, install npm install,
and then node server.js. So that's your file. That's the one that starts the service, basically.
It's the one I have highlighted and open here. Port 3000.
Okay. So that means we now have a server that's running, and I mean that could be running in production, etc. But one thing is missing, right? Like we generated the kind of the skeleton of the app. Obviously, what we don't generate from Postman is your database, the calls to your database, or like any intelligence afterwards. Anything that is not described in the Open API, we can't do it for you. So yeah, if you open that exact file, that's what it says. It says implement your business logic here. So we can go all the way to coding that endpoint, but as of now, that endpoint is just going to return the like example values, and we can try that. Like we can go in Postman actually and try to call that that URL.
Okay. Is it just localhost on 3000?
Yeah. So it's going to be localhost on 3000. The endpoint is /user, and then you can provide a user ID if you want. We can reuse that one.
So let me add our server-side code generation example. It's very long. Just so I remember. And you said localhost?
Yep. 3000 /user.
User?
Yep. And if you call that... wait, you have...
Is it users?
You have...
I have an extra
column,
slash.
Yeah.
/d.
Yep.
Oh, here's that very not helpful, but we saw it hard-coded, right, in VS Code?
And this is all without like you writing any piece of code. So you have you have the server running, you have all the logic of, I know you're calling that route, I know you're calling that endpoint, so I'm going all the way to that function. And then all that is left for you to do as a developer is write the business logic in that place. It might not seem that impressive with that default one because it's only one route, but go ahead, get an open API that has like 1,000 of endpoints, and try generating this, and it's gonna save you a lot of writing, basically.
That's huge. So I didn't do any of the scaffolding. All I did was select those like 3 options So I needed to start off with an open API file, but if you don't have one and you want to get back this, then you can use the boilerplate that Postman has when you just add an example API schema. But all I needed was, oops, I'm on the client side.
Yep.
If I go back to the,
Once
am I
again.
on the server side?
No, that's client side too. That's the eco one. One more.
Let me close some of
That,
these.
that's the one. That's the
Okay, so here I am on the schema. It does confuse me a bit because it doesn't line up here on the left sidebar, but I can see from the icon in the tab and also the content that's on the tab. But here, all I needed to do was select the framework. So the client-side code gen is open source because people are like, I need to have my whatever hipster language I like. Do you know what's coming here for? I mean, these are probably the most popular ones, but do you know
Yeah.
what's coming next for server-side code gen?
I do not actually, but more. I
More.
would say, yeah. There's a learn more link at the top. Not this one, the other one, which probably links to the docs and would let you know like what's available. I probably won't mention what's coming next, but if you
Yeah.
want to learn more about it, that's the right place to be.
And you mentioned
Cool.
this at the beginning, but we wanted to generate the entire
Yeah.
scaffolding. But if we are trying to update it because we changed something in our schema and then we want to generate the server side code, then we would just click this one. Okay, cool.
We have a question, more like a suggestion in chat from Margaret, who says, I wish it was possible to have general requests that could be reused across collections in a way that environment variables work. Hope it will be possible soon. Yeah, we have that feature request. I think we're tracking it. And we're... let's see where we get with that.
Yeah,
would
that
say.
is a very commonly asked thing, and I think it would be very helpful. You can reuse like tests. You can reuse just like utility libraries and all that kind of stuff. That would be cool.
Cool. So now we've talked about many things. Too many probably. But if you're still following along, and if you can keep track of everything we've seen, if you've been using Postman, you might be familiar with the left sidebar, but there's something new in there that you might notice, which is called flows. And can anyone guess? Even you, Joyce, can you guess what's flows?
So you're talking about this thing here?
Yes, that thing that says flows.
Flows. Here, let me clean some of this up.
Yeah.
Chat, go ahead and guess what you think flows is. There's been some foreshadowing ahead of time.
So I think, again, I have LinkedIn open on my other screen, and I know they're lagging behind quite a lot. So we'll probably get a few guesses, like in a few minutes, of people saying, I think
Oh,
flows
no.
is that. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so flows, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we announced this at our large developer conference, Galaxy, like several months ago now, in February of this year, and there was a lot of support for it, but I assume it has to do with workflows, API flows. What is it? Wait, we got a guess here.
Here we go.
Sequenced calls, Oliver Raptor.
Okay. That's a good guess. Breaks up the icebergs from earlier. Yeah. Link request together. Good guess.
You say good guess like that's not what it is.
No, that's a good guess.
Oh.
That's good. Good guess.
Okay.
No, as in like, yeah, I know when you do
GG, good
quizzes,
guess.
you say good guess, but that's not it. No, so it's actually it's a bit of both. I mean, it's a bit of many things. It's linking requests together, visual way for request linking. That's it as well. Set of requests which are executing in predefined sequence. Not quite. That would be the collection runner, though it does apply to it eventually. But I would say plenty of very good guesses, as in good answers, more like, I guess. But let's just go ahead and see what it looks like.
Everyone wins. Let me close this. So
Should I just let you click around and see what happens?
heck no, heck no. So I'm here on the left sidebar. This is like the main nav. Or it's not really the main nav, but it's a very important nav. Flows. Create your first flow. Test real world processes by connecting requests logically. So we had a couple guesses for that. Let's go ahead and create a flow. Huh. Okay. So it looks like there's some like graph paper here.
Yep. So anyone that has heard of like the low code, no code, how would I call that? Movement? I don't know.
Trend.
Yeah, trend.
Yeah.
It's right on. It's what we're trying to get. It's another level of abstractions on top of your of the request you've been creating in Postman. So out of the we mentioned workflows. Someone mentioned workflows. I think maybe you, Joyce. Until now, if you wanted to create an actual workflow between your requests, you would have to write some code. And if you check the Postman docs and look for workflow, what it's going to tell you is going to tell you you need to go in the test tab. You need to write some code like using postman.set next request. I think if you type workflows,
Controlling your workflow is a programming phrase. So the Postman set next request. We've done several streams with that before.
And basically what this does, this allows you to create like conditions in your code and say, if that API returns X, then call request A. But if the API sends back Y, then call request B. And now instead of like having to actually go and write some code, we have this flow, these flows that just allow you to do it graphically. I see we have like some other Postman extension coming for VS Code. Maybe. Not allowed to say yes or no. I can neither deny or confirm. Is that
deny.
yeah. That's the saying, right? Maybe. Connect to GitHub pipeline and run test reports integrating with Postman.
Ooh.
You go. I'm not sure if I understand. So
I do believe there might be something on our roadmap. I don't know if it's on our public roadmap to allow you to run some tests and then potentially see the results. We already have the ability to do that with monitors, as we saw earlier, but I think there's going to be more capabilities there.
Okay. So back to flows.
Okay.
One thing that it does not do, it does not create a request. So you need to have already requests that you build from. Okay. So let's get an API, just create a request and see how we can call it from there, and then we'll try to do like some flows. So I was looking for an API for that before the stream. Joyce mentioned Swappy
Star Wars
API.
Yeah.
So let's use that one. Let's go ahead and
call up the docs. Or do you know
go to that docs, and then you need to create a new collection that calls a couple of one of their endpoints.
Oh, I saw in my autocomplete search that Postman actually has a collection in the API network, but this is their actual documentation page.
I mean, if we have a collection, we can just bring it. That would be easier.
Oh, it's
I don't think it's
okay. Sorry,
it's not public.
Okay.
So we had a DC against Marvel debate earlier. Now we can have a Star Wars 1, 2, 3 against Star Wars 4, 5, 6 debate if you want.
I'm not qualified to contribute to this discussion. Okay, so I have the base URL here, but you said I need to create a collection?
Yep. So let's create a Swappy collection.
Okay, add a request.
Yep.
People, I think this was.
/people.
Oops. Was it people?
Mm-hmm.
Soylent Green is made of people. Okay, so let's hit send.
Okay, so I had that error. Just disable SSL verification for now.
Okay, so it's kind of behind our head, but I'm just gonna. There's a.
You can do the side-by-side view. Bottom right.
Oh yeah, where is that? Okay, here.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Close this. Ooh.
Cool.
Okay.
So we have that page. that has 82 characters, people apparently. Gives you the next page. So that API has like has pagination included, and that's why we're going to use this one, because one of the workflows that a lot of people do in Postman is they have an API, they need to loop over the same one until there's no more results, and you can do that using set net request. But let's see if we can do that using flows and see how that would work.
Okay.
So let's save that. We have that that endpoint ready to use.
Save the response or just save the updates?
Save the updates. Okay, let's go back to flows. So you already have it open. Yep. Go ahead.
So send a request? Okay, so this is the collections that are inside this workspace that I'm in. I should have not named these so similarly. I have my two.
At least you have only two folders.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the get request going to /people. And it's on.
Okay.
This is behind our head, but should I make it small? A little like toast at the bottom that says an informational toast that says triggers the block but carries no data.
Okay.
We can probably pop this out to see it in a separate tab.
That would probably open the request, yeah.
This probably is full screen. If we
I
wanted,
don't know, actually. No, it's the information about the node.
Well, the metadata, okay.
Yeah.
Output generated, configuration, and information.
So let's build it like one step at a time. For now, we just want to be able to send a request. So let's go ahead and just start this flow and see what happens. So there's you can see there's a big bright orange button at the bottom, or there's the one that is at the beginning of the flow. So when you click, it triggers an event that starts the flow. And you can
see, it's traveling. Wait.
You can see your data going there, and then what? Like, what happened?
Wait, what happened?
I don't know. How do we know what happened?
Wait, let me watch it do it again. So I'm going to start it. It travels, and then this goes check because it probably got back a successful thingy. And did this thing come up? Well, this thing appeared, right?
Data appeared here, but could go nowhere. So
let's log it or something.
Yeah. Let's try. How would you do that?
Either add another block or do something here.
Yep. So you can see there's a terminal block.
Okay, so I can either send a subsequent request and probably chain information along to that request, but literally we don't even have the response yet.
Yep.
So terminal probably, log it to our terminal. Oh wait, this is a slider so I can see a couple other things. Set up delay, validate, blah, 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 for each combine. I don't know what combine is. Okay.
Cool. So now that's the default name. And then I don't know if you've noticed, but at the top right of your grid, there's a terminal there.
Okay, when I hover over this is behind our heads, but it's in the bottom right of the Postman. It also has an information pop-up that says terminal shows output logs. Okay, that's helpful.
Okay, so now let's open the terminal and try to click start again.
Okay, so let me scooch this over here. All we have is our first GET request going to terminal. Ooh, travel. Oh, what's this? Okay.
So that's the response from your API.
Response body, okay.
Right. So for now, there's not we're not adding much more value than what you can do in a simple request. Like you put the URL, click send, and then you have the result. But let's see how we can now do some logic so that it keeps on going until there's no more results. I see we have a quick question about will flow work for Postman for Newman? Well, you can technically trigger Newman from the API, I think. I don't know. I want to say no for now, but maybe.
So Flow is just the no-code way of building your workflow or something. And Newman, I mean, you can build it in collection. We do it on almost every stream. And so Newman allows you to run that collection. Let us know if that's your if that answers your question. All right. Okay. Now what?
Okay, so we kind of know, like, how would you go with that, right? Like, you have this first response.
Yeah. So
that tells you
if I
the next
wanted to
one.
paginate, this one gives me the first one, page 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would need to probably save a variable that then calls page 3, page 4 until there's maybe no next. Maybe next is null. And then save all the stuff that I get back from Swappy.
Yeah. So we probably, I don't know if we'll go all the way to like saving it or anything, but we can already like think about how to build that logic. So I know you opened the block. You can see at the bottom as well, there's like an add block thing. Yeah. So we can have a look at all of the blocks that are available if you click on that.
Okay.
So the send request, we've seen what it does. Terminal allows you to like output the logs to like the right hand side there. We have create variables. So you mentioned, right, like we want to use variables to kind of edit the thing on the fly. So you can use that block to, and we'll use it. So we'll see exactly how it works. Just to assign variables as we go through the flow. Can you scroll down a bit? Yeah, so it's not behind faces. Then we have parse JSON. If you receive text, you can pass it to JSON. Delay. We also have like a lot of people when they build things using Postman test, they'll like write a little set timeout with like a second or like even 100 milliseconds just to like add some delay to their flow. So now you can have it visually, and you could actually add it here, like right before the first request,
Okay.
just to see how it works.
Before this one?
Yeah. So let's see. Let's set a delay, I guess, like probably a second. So that's in
1
millisecond.
millisecond?
Yeah, it's not gonna be. Yeah, cool. And now link it between the start and the send request. Yep. And then
Is that correct?
Well, you
No, I
need to
gotta-
delete the other one. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta maybe
Yep.
and then connect it. Ooh, it's like noodles. Wait, let me space this out. Oh, this is gonna drive Arlemi nuts.
Yeah. It's already. In the meantime, John's asking, are there good flow samples? Not yet. So this has been out for not even a week, and it's still in beta. So first, it's not shareable at the moment because it's still in beta, and it's not even enabled in public workspaces. But as soon as it is, there will be some examples out there for sure.
This is fresh. This is hot off the presses. This is probably the first time anybody's talked about flows publicly or showed it.
I
So
may
you guys
have
are
may have leaked it on my Twitter.
on Twitter. You better follow Arlemi to get the latest. Okay, so we have noodles set up. The first start button goes to a delay. We're gonna set timeout or delay for 1 second before we send the get request to people swappy. And then we output it to terminal. So we still need to persist our information and also persist the page that we're on.
Let's just try to send this just to see what the delay does.
Okay, so I can either click the inobtrusive start. Meow, meow, meow. Why did the globs go down at the same time? I would expect it to like wait here and then follow it along.
Can you make the delay longer to see what happens? Because a second is not make it.
So 10, like 5?
Or 5, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said 10,000, which is probably a bit much.
Okay, so 5 seconds here. So I click start and it goes here. Okay, there, I see the delay. Bloom, bloom. Okay, very nice.
Okay, let's go back to the blocks. Kind of have a quick look of what we can have. So we did delay. Scroll down. Validate. So based on the response of your API, you may or may not want to continue. So for example, you mentioned how we want to stop at some point. If there's no more next, we want to be able to stop. So we can actually check if there's a next value, there's a next page. And if there isn't, then let's not go to the next step.
Okay, that one was called validate.
Validate, yep.
Okay, so it should probably be here after we
Yep.
get something back.
And in the meantime, John's working as it would be good if this GUI made a regular collection with calls that could be examined and edited, etc. Does it? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Maybe transfer a collection into a flow. John's work alias, like a translation or like a conversion.
Oh, you mean like? Oh, you mean from the flow that we create, generate a collection?
Okay, so here let's validate.
Yeah. So view source calls in collection for the yeah. Okay. So kind of like export what you're doing. I don't know how like in which format we'll be able to share flows. We'll be able to share them eventually. I don't know if it is going to be in the form of a collection though. But I see what you mean.
I kind of think of this flow as a collection as well, just because
Well, you create it from you create it from a collection, which. Okay, so one quick trick here for anyone that listens. What you want to do in this case, you always want to connect first, and then try to do the validation thing. So connect it to the send request one.
Okay. Oh, I was trying to drag that one over.
No,
okay.
no.
I know. I got what? No, this one. I was trying to drag the end and connect it to this one, but that's not how it works. I need to like drag it. Actually, can I do it like this?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so now it's just going to go to 2 at the same time.
You can probably make the terminal smaller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now when you set up the validate, it's going to automatically pull like whatever is being sent from the previous request. So in that dropdown, you can select. So what are we looking for next? Yeah. Okay, and now you can set your condition. If next equal.
So what would it be? Next is not null?
Actually, you can send, if you send the first one, it would show you what previous is, right? I think previous is null by default. Do you understand what I mean?
So here's what an example response looks like.
Okay. Yeah, so previous is null. So yeah, so I'm guessing if there's no next, it's also going to be null. So we can test for that.
We think next will be null?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the flow, and we think that what did I select here?
Yeah, you're right, like body and then next.
Oh, body and next. Okay, I see this here.
Check the operators.
Is not equal to null?
It should be equal to null, but scroll down. Scroll down to see what else is there. Okay, yeah, let's use then.
Lesser equal, in, not in, contains, not contains.
Let's try equal then. I'm wondering how that's going to work because now you're comparing strings, but it's technically just like a no object when it's not there. So we'll see, I guess.
Okay, my hypothesis is that this condition is that if the object's next property is equal to null, then we could like potentially stop running this loop, right?
Yep. So, yeah. So you can see on the right, you have the results of your condition, true and false. So if it's equal to null, we want to stop here. So you can probably go to the terminal. So that's the end.
How do I terminate the rest of the flow? Because otherwise I want it to come back and send the request, correct?
So you have true and false. Mm-hmm. So false is going to go back to the send request.
False is going to go back to send request. I don't know. Do I need to do it on the front?
No, the entry.
The front entry. Okay.
But then true is going.
Okay. True will go to just terminal.
The terminal. Yeah, we can just say terminal is the end. Okay, so now it's getting a bit messy, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I would say maybe you could zoom out once.
Zoom out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Just so you can see conceptually what's going on.
Yep.
This is so
If you
ugly.
understand, yeah,
This
there's
is
so
so
many.
ugly.
Can you delete the blue between send request and terminal? Yep, this one.
Okay.
And
Make
then
it here.
yeah, try to make it so it's like.
I can't untangle things.
No, you can make them one on top of each other. Yeah, nice.
Okay. So this
Okay.
loops back to here. At this point, it's a continuous loop because we're not.
Yep.
We're going to be cycling on page 2. Page 2. Give me page 2.
Yeah, you. we can try. I don't want to, but just in case your PC dies, which it won't. But yeah, it's just gonna. It's just sending requests. It's not really like requiring any computing power. Okay, so now what do we miss?
We want to save a variable with the page number to update something in this request.
So let's find the block for that.
Okay, so add block, create variables,
Yep.
and I'll place it after we validate to see if there's next, then we'll increment the page. Should I put it here?
So disclaimer, it's still in beta. For now, you're not able to increment a value. You're just able to set values. So one thing we'll have to do, we'll have to define the whole URL as a variable, and then just replace the whole thing.
Okay.
But eventually we'll be able to do that. So again, I'd recommend like connecting directly before you do all this.
Okay, so this is the validation. If you have, I'm getting confused. If next is null, then you would,
Stop.
so it comes from false, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
And
we
then-
connect it first so that the drop downs will have something in it.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yep. So let's define the variable first. So go back to the request itself. The actual, not the actual request in Postman. Your tab.
Okay.
Yep. And then replace the whole. Yeah. All of this you can copy it. Yep.
Okay. Back.
And so replace that with a variable called base URL, for example,
In the flow.
in here, because you want it to be able to be overridden.
Okay, so set a variable, set a new variable called base URL, and we'll set it as a collection level.
Yeah, we'll override it anyway, so it doesn't really matter where you put it. Ignacio saying, is this currently available on Postman? Yes, if you use the web version.
You'll
So
see this little flows icon here on the left.
go to postman.com, then you'll see a sign-in button at the top right. Then you can start using it. Okay, cool. So save that. You want to make sure that it's saved.
Okay.
And then go back to the flow. Cool. So create variables. You can link that back to send request.
Create variables, then goes back to the beginning of send request.
And you want to delete the one between the condition and send request, because you want it to go through
This
create
one.
variable. Yep. Okay. Now let's edit the create variable one. Assign to. Let's click on that and see if there's a drop down.
I just realized, let me just close this for a second. I was like, why the heck is Arlemi having me update this collection? And it's because the same underlying request. I forgot that I selected from there. So we are updating it on the actual request in that collection because that's what we selected it from. Okay, sorry. Create variables.
So yeah, here you just assign values to variable. So for the data, you have two types of data. It can be from the input, or it can be from a constant. So this one is going to come from the input of the previous one, right? Like we want to get the next. Yep.
Is it previous?
No, it's next. We want the next page. And we'll assign it to base URL. So perfect. That's set up.
Okay. Close it.
Yep. True links should be green and false links should be red. Good suggestion. Yeah, I mean, I know we have some people from the product side that are watching, so it's already taken into account, and then they'll probably see if it's good to do or not. Okay, so let's start that and see what happens. Maybe remove the delay because we don't want to wait 5 seconds every time. Or you
Okay.
can just make it 1 millisecond if you want, if you can't be asked to like connect again.
Bit connect. Oops. Okay, so 1 second. So right now what's going to happen is I'm going to send the request, and then next is going to look like this. And we're going to set that as the base URL so that we can actually call next until it's null. Actually, it'll continue calling it if it's null, I think.
Yep.
Maybe. Start.
Yep.
So I need to look to see what's getting logged. Oh, so that's the null. That must be the null.
Okay, let's see. Let's open the console. Like the console still works for the flows, by the way, so you can actually see everything that was called, etc. So you can see it called people, then people page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And then next was probably null.
Yeah, so what's the error there?
Could not find data using provided path. Couldn't call null.
Yeah, so that's what I meant. I think we were comparing a string to a null, which isn't a string, right? I don't know if you see the difference.
Here?
Yeah.
We're comparing...
Yeah, so like this is text, this is a string because it's in between quotes. But if you look at previous, it's not null like as a string, it's null as like the undefined
null value,
object. Yeah. Which is probably why it didn't like kind of exit gracefully the flow and just like bugged on us. I mean bugged. Like so I'm not sure if we could actually do that. Oh, that's actually so Neil has a suggestion of changing the validate to
so smart. Should we do that?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, so we should say the same next property does, okay, let me scroll down, does not contain a string. Do I need to put it in strings though, you think?
No, because this is already a string, I think, yeah.
Do we think that'll work?
I mean, we can try it, see what happens.
Do I need to save it or something?
Do right-click refresh if you want to get rid of like any... Yep.
What did that do?
Well, I actually thought it would like get rid of the error. Yeah.
Okay.
You bet $50 cents if it will work. It's like,
is this Bitcoin?
No, it's just dollars.
Okay. Should we? I kind of want to leave the console open so we can maybe be a little bit more clear, because the noodles are very beautiful, but I think. Okay.
So I'm wondering what will happen now if the variable is going to be reset to be 0, if it's going to start from 9 already.
Oh, is there a way to inspect?
I guess click start and see what happens.
Okay. Noodle. Pew,
okay,
pew.
Nice.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's getting close. 9.
No, it errored out again. Yeah, it did not work. Yeah, I think that's probably just because we're comparing the a string to something that is not a string, which does not work.
Yeah, there's probably like a parse, JSON parse in there. I saw.
Click the advanced thing there on the comparison. Yeah, validate. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see if it. No, you can just like change the data path, but not the rest.
T-Paget, I would also like to drag the noodles because like I just want to make it like go around the block.
Is it possible to have parallel blocks, like 2 requests that we run parallel, or like 2 validation blocks? Yes. Actually, so that's one of the blocks that we've not gone to. But if you, Joyce, if you wouldn't mind clicking add block, if you scroll all the way down, there's this combine one. So you could have like, you could be requesting data from two different APIs. One being, I don't know, one being your calendar for the day, the other one being your schedule for the day, your weather for the day. They run in parallel, and then you combine that in one call, and then this is being sent to Twilio API that sends you a text with the weather and your schedule for the day. I don't know. You can build this type of workflows.
That would be cool if you had like 50 different data sources, or two
Yeah.
in this case, two data sources, and then you could just like spit it out, do some
Well, I mean,
calculations.
technically, you could have 50 and just like combine all the combine blocks, right? Like, and it
Oh,
becomes like one big, huge
yeah.
like, combine at the end.
Like a binary like
Yeah.
tree
Yeah.
of combines.
Reversed
Yeah.
binary tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, to your question, you can have two different things running parallelly, and you can like even you, Joyce, if you wanted, like from the start thing there, just click. Actually, scroll back up a bit. Like right after the delay, click data, and add a send request, and call your scrap
Echo.
Yeah. And then you could have that going to another terminal. But yeah, that's just to prove like, or even to the same terminal. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, now you can click start,
Oh,
and you
these
see
are
that
different terminals?
you would need to change the name, like in the blocks. So this one is, see how they're both like default right below in the group? Yeah.
I don't know why I said Jerry. I was thinking Tom and Jerry.
Okay.
It's not
Now you
that.
need to refresh or just send for it to be updated. Just send, then click start.
Okay, so I'm going to hit, let me clear. Pew, pew.
Okay.
Oh, pew, pew. Oh,
So you
pew,
can see like
pew.
both happen, right? Like the Postman echo got called, then the swappy got called, and if you look at the terminal,
Oh,
you have default, and then you should have Jerry,
Jerry.
which is like the Postman echo.
Echo. Oh.
If you have code already written in the test tab that involves saving, testing your data, you can just have the combine block. It worked nicely for my testing this morning. Okay. I have to say, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of our users have like tried this out more than I did, or like more than we did. Yeah, there's probably thousands of things you can build with it, and that we, I mean, yeah. And there's probably a lot more that we'll see being built with it. But yeah, that's good. That's good to know.
There's something very, well, first of all, there's something very calming about watching the thing travel through the noodles, but also like viscerally, people get it. Like sometimes I'm trying to explain Postman set next request or even like recursion or pagination, and some people are like, they see it and then they know the concept, but like viscerally, this makes it a lot easier for people to understand the workflow.
I think that's where the main value lies in, just being able to see what you're doing. Because even like send next request, you can, when you build it, right? Like when you have all your conditions going, there's a lot of like console logging to see what's happening, etc. I feel like here it's much easier to see what's going where. If you had a condition, like your validate thing, you can see what goes to the terminal and what goes back in the loop. So you know exactly like what's happening where, which is also like that higher level of abstractions on top of it.
It's pretty neat. Good job, Postman engineering team.
Cool. I think that's all the news
Oh
stuff.
my gosh, that was so much stuff. Can you just go over? My head is so full. Can you just go over like what was new?
I can try. Let me see. We started talking about the private API network, which is how you have the public API network, which is sharing publicly, but you have the private API network, which is sharing within your team. You have an internal API that you want to share with someone. They can go in here, they can find it, they can find some information about it. They can now filter by like who created it, sort it by when it was created, etc. Then we talked about like the new API builder, like the plethora of new integrations that we have, from CI/CD to APM to Getaway to Git integrations, as well as like the new features that we've added on top. So there's like documentation straight in here. There's being able to give a status about your API, like it's in design, it's in review, it's in production, or like deprecated. What else did we do? Oh, and then go for it.
The integrations, all the integrations, CI/CD, AWS Gateway, monitoring, application performance monitoring, like so much stuff. And then the versioning, the
Status. Yeah.
the versioning on this area. This is a version, and then
Yep.
the status, and then we also talked about the Git. I keep thinking BitConnect, the Git Connect repository.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we looked how you can now generate server-side code the same way we have been able to generate like client code for a while.
Yeah.
So
So
just
from an open API spec, here's the client side server gen. Sorry, client side server side code gen. Can generate the code. I already did that.
Yep. And then you have this app like that's working. All you need to do next is just creating the like business logic, connect your data sources, etc. And then we went to flows, and that's where we spent the last half hour, like just exploring the different blocks that are there, like
The
how
noodles.
the data flows from one to the other, how do you create automation, create like loop over things, etc. Conditions. But yeah, that's the summary of what we did today. So hopefully everyone learned a lot. Hopefully, Joyce, you learned some stuff. Hopefully or not, I don't know. Should you be learning stuff? I don't know. But yeah, that's it for today. I don't know if you have any community shoutouts, upcoming events that you want to talk about.
Yeah, so our October, what month is it? Our October stream schedule is set. So we have next week, I believe we have a blindfold challenge. So I think it's Sean, if I'm not mistaken, is going to test new Postmanauts. Like, welcome to the team, Ruby. Here's a blindfold challenge. They'll try to figure out what's going on from the API network. And then I just have one community shout out here for you. I think I brought okay, so it's very, very small, but let me zoom in now that we don't have our flows. Don't need to see our noodles. So I think it's Praveen, David Matthew. I think this is the one. Now I'm zoomed in too much. This is one of our, oh no, is this the wrong one? Let me see. Praveen has multiple. Let me see.
Can you click on the team?
Yeah. So here's the team profile. Praveen just updated their team profile, I think, because they're one of our supernovas. We have a supernova program Postman does, and people go around talking at conferences, talking at meetups, doing lunch and learns. And there's just so much stuff that Praveen has created. I'm just pulling up the wrong workspace for him right now. But shout out to Praveen.
Cool. With that said, thank you everyone for joining. That was What's New in Postman in an hour and a half. Again, hopefully you've all learned something. Go and play with all these new things. If you have any feedback, there's the community forum, or just add us anywhere, and we can bring it back. The flows is very much in like beta at the moment. We need all the feedback we can to improve on it. I think like there's been a few things mentioned on the stream, but if you go ahead and like create new things and have new requests, don't hesitate to reach out. And yeah,
I think we have a thread on the community forum specifically soliciting for flows feedback, but a bunch of the V9 stuff is pretty sweet. So give us that feedback, because the engineering and product team really do pay attention to what people are asking for. If you have an integration that you want to get done, like, reach out and let us know.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Joyce.
All right.
And see you next week.
Bye, Arlemi. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
you.